It has all gone to shit in the universe of My Hero Academia. My name is James. I'm joined by Dylan. We're the degenerate duo of Class 1A's podcast. Dylan, how you feeling about our dystopian, some still like bright color palette future in My Hero Academia?
Yeah, it is. It's interesting to see what they do with the color palette because it still feels like the same show, but like just a little weird. But I don't know. I like it. I like Deku like in his this form that he's in. Like it's a little bit scary, but he's really cool.
Yeah, our boy has just like he's just fully embraced that edge lord look. We got finally got the hood up, we got the scarf. Yeah, he's it's this. I think this is overdue. I think this tone shift for Deku is nice. I think it's a little refreshing.
Yeah,
We're gonna be breaking down the episode, which is episode 18? 19.
19.
19 this week, which we get to see a nice little bit of new Deku in action. We get a little backstory on everything. I'm gonna give a quick recap, and we're gonna just kind of dive right into the discussion. So we pick up really right where we left off with Deku leaving classmates his the note revealing that he got his power from All Might, that he was basically being tracked by Shigaraki. He didn't want to engage in them, and he was basically going to go off on his own, sort of thing. Off on his own, like with an asterisk, because he has Hawk's Best Jeanist, All Might, and Endeavor kind of as his new crew, his new posse. They're off basically stopping the escaped villains, and basically the term they're throwing around a lot is jailbreaker, which I'm assuming is basically people who are really responsible for breaking out the smaller jails. Where we eventually immediately meet both knockoff Deku, Shindo, who we haven't seen in a hot minute, and his companion Tamaki, I believe her name is. She's the girl who can basically like retract her head like a turtle. Like I think that's her only quirk. I think turtle. Yeah, her hero name's Turtleneck, and his hero name is Grand, which I think is like it's like Grand Canyon maybe. I don't know. Earthquakes. I don't know. It's a stretch. It's a stretch. It basically starts with them trying to get some hunkered down civilians to basically evacuate. They're kind of holed up with like support items, and they're basically just doing their own thing, bunkering down, and not really trusting any heroes, given the current state of the world. After a failed basically evacuation attempt, they get jumped by Muscular. Turtleneck immediately tries to go to evacuate the civilians, while Shindo tries to go head to head with Muscular. And our boy gets his ass beat. He gets his ass beat pretty well but he does get off his final like big vibration move before Dad Boy Vigilante Deku shows up, and we see this very like melancholy iteration of Deku, who's very analytical. He's very concise, and Dylan and I are really going to get into it later. But he basically uses a combination of his newfound quirks to dismantle Muscular quite easily. This is with the help of Shindo through his tremor quirk, but really it was quite a quick dismantling. Following this, there's a quick conversation with him and All Might, kind of discussing some of the support items he's using now, as well as coordinating with the rest of his team. And then a good portion of the episode is basically All Might and Deku's mom, Izuku, kind of just like working through what's happened in Deku's life and why he is the way he is now, and what he has to do and why he has to do it. That's kind of covered. We get some flashbacks basically to All Might really promising Izuku that he would take care of him, sort of thing, and it seems like he's kind of trying to stick to that. We then get the nice little quick cut to Gran Torino, who his boomer ass is still stuck in the hospital, and basically tells Deku, he's like, yeah, listen, I know she said you need to try and save him, but you still got to kill his ass if things are too grim. I should have done it, and and then he gives him a scarf. So I don't know, maybe Gran Torino's just really pissed off and bitter now. So and then we end the episode with Deku going out on his own and jumping back out into the rest of the world. I think that's really about it, though. Like, we really, So
yeah. I think the big thing at the end is just like him, like with his like new crew of like the top heroes.
Yeah, which we have like one of four functioning heroes. Like it's only Best Genius. Like Hawks doesn't have his wings. Endeavor seems like he's very busted up and broken. And All Might, of course, is All Might, right? So it's but they're all running like this surveillance and coordination for him. Mm-hmm. So they do seem like they're bringing a lot to the table that way, which is always great. So then the first thing I want to talk about is Deku, is like his demeanor, how he uses his quirks, his outfit, everything like that. Um, yeah, Dylan, really want you to kind of walk me through the steps of how we think we got from like point A to point B, sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I love the way that he looks now because, I mean, the only real difference is he has his hood up, it's a little bit ripped, and he has Gran Torino's scarf. That's the only real difference, but like, because of the tone of the show changing and then like changing the art style up a little bit, they don't quite, I think, capture like how well the art style change really was. Like, looking at the manga, it literally looked like he was drawn differently than everything else. And I think that's something that they don't quite capture here. But I still think it works. And one of the things I really like, a good touch from the anime, is the muffled voice because he does have his hood up. Like, it's just like a really small thing, but like, I don't know, it also adds like this like different layer to his voice and does literally make him sound like his voice is a little bit deeper and a little bit darker.
Yeah, and and again, I think it's, it kind of complements that tonal shift that you can't get from the switch of a bar style in the manga. Like this kind of like offsets that and compensates for that in a different type of medium, right? Because I think you and I have like especially praised Horikoshi for being able to switch up his art styles, like drawing. He has tons of inspiration from like Junji Ito and stuff like that, and you can really see it when he can start going off. I think that this was really our first taste of it with like not even the new costume, just the costume switch up sort of thing. So I'm glad they found a way to like, yeah, we can't do exactly that because art style switch ups consistently in the anime, I don't think would really like. I think to the eye, it would throw people off, right?
Yeah.
So this is a nice compromise. This works. But let's talk about his quirks. Let's talk about how those work together.
They're so good. Like it was cool seeing him discover his new quirks, but I think where they obviously seem the most strong is when you start combining them. Because on their own, they're a little bit lackluster. Like, I got Smokescreen and Danger Sense, which is cool and all, but they're only like really awesome once you see them starting to combine together. He's using his Danger Sense. He's like jumping around here and there. He's throwing out smoke places. Like, it's cool. It's cool to see it all really come together.
Yeah. How do you feel about the kind of delivery of how we're getting them? Like, are you fine with kind of this pace that they're kind of being rolled out?
I think so. At first, I was a little bit disappointed because I want to spend time with each one of them, like Black Whip. I wanted that kind of like learning moment, that discovering it and moving past it. But seeing the way that the quirks after Black Whip really are, because they're so small, I don't think it works that way. Like, how would it feel like if we had this big run up and big reveal to Smokescreen, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. I guess I'm gonna learn how to smoke screen really well or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just it. And I'm sure there's definitely like a learn technique to that, to like use that in like fun in different ways. But yeah, it doesn't need a whole episode to like really like groom over that sort of thing.
No, but what do you think of like being a manga reader and seeing it in the anime? How do you feel about it being purple?
That was the thing that threw me off. Like I saw it and I was like, and actually I had to like double check. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Like I don't remember this, right? Like, but yeah, like I don't know. I think the reason they're doing this in the anime is because they're trying to make them all distinguishable.
Yeah.
Like so that's why Black Whip is like it's like got this like blue teal kind of tinge to it. Smokescreen's purple, right? So and then then we have one for all, or all for one, sorry. Being like that tingy teal crackling kind of thing. So like
because like whenever you look at like all the different colors coming together in that vestige state, all of them are different colors. Too, and like within one for all, so it makes sense that they all have that color I guess like combination there.
Yeah, and it seems like teal is really like that's Deku's color, right? That's the color that he kind of manifests in through that. So, with some things it's totally like understandable that it has its influence in that with like Black Whip and All for One, or one for all. But like Smokescreen, that'd be weird to make it teal. You know what I mean? That would be. Yeah. So I think purple's fine. I think it's totally fine. And then like Float in Danger Sense they can't really have colors. Actually, no, Danger Sense does have a color.
It's yellow.
It's yellow, yeah.
So I think they do all have colors, just in some way. You just have to look really hard.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, no, I think it's kind of enough. Like, just really like focusing on Deku. Like, I mean, obviously his like the tone, like we kind of touched on, is like it's a very flat affect, right? It's very composed, but almost to the point, like it's like because it's not only composed and calm, it's almost like morose. You know what I mean? Like it's so analytical and so boiled down that it really doesn't feel like him.
Yeah, he really lost his like personality here. He has gone like full, like you were talking about, like analytical mode, just going to save people. That's it. He doesn't have his Deku charm anymore.
Yeah, he's the man's going for like a numbers game sort of thing. He's like speed running how many people he can save and how many villains he can take out.
Yeah, I wonder if that's going to be anything that we're going to have to deal with in the upcoming episodes.
Yeah, because there's no way that can circle back and bite us in the ass, right?
But I do want to talk about maybe I love my themes. I love my overall themes. So let's jump into it and talk about citizens here using support items, and not only that, but their just flat out rejection of heroes coming to save them. Because it's so interesting to me, because this is exactly what they wanted in the end, the villains. They wanted citizens to say no to heroes. They wanted them to pick up, support items. So one, they could, fund the villains, obviously, because they're their support items. And on top of that, it just destabilizes all of society. So wondering, like, what are your thoughts here? Like, what are you thinking about the citizens right now?
Yeah, it is very much one of those things that's like, it's the desired effect that I don't think like the heroes couldn't predict that being like one of the goals of the League of Villains. Like obviously it's like like destabilize hero society and stuff like that. But it's like it's a very vague goal. But when you see it manifest in this way, where you are having people help reject, youth as well, who have been deemed kind of like, they have their provisional license and stuff like that. Yeah, I think it just really solidifies it and makes it a lot more real. And like, not only that, but I feel like it is a very like, it's like you don't need to make a stretch to understand why that happens, right? Like you really don't. And I think that it has a very big impact. And yeah, it's just not one of those things that feels like it's not a reach, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then the support items, like again, like I think you covered it. We covered it more. I think it was last week's episode more than this week. But a lot of them like backfire. Like a lot of them are like you need to learn how to use these things, right? Other than you can't just be like this average Joe who just picks them up and uses them, right?
Yeah, I mean they essentially just are like artificial quirks at that point.
Yeah, exactly, right. Which I mean, any Joe Blow who like, it depends on your occupation. Like if you've been a grocer like with a very like low level quirk for like most of your life, then it's like, oh shit, Hero Society goes to crap, and I'm picking up this like thing that gives me a quirk. You have no training. You have no idea how to use it. You weren't brought up into it by any stretch. You didn't take any online classes, right? Like,
dang, I wonder if we're getting any metaphor here for anything else.
There's no way we're getting another metaphor, right?
Yeah, I wonder if they're trying to tell us something about society picking up certain weapons without training. But anyways, I think this is going to be a really interesting kind of thing to move past, because for me, this is like the real stuff we got to deal with. It's not, oh, we need to find the heroes in our own hearts and move forward. It's like, no, there's like this bigger problem that like you have to solve until like we go into the end. And this is my thing of thinking that the end of the show is going to be everyone getting their quirks taken away, because this is the output of quirks in society, right? It just destabilizes like this.
Yeah, that's just it. It really just throws like like things were very loosely built up, and you can see how very quickly that can just fall to the wayside, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of quirks, though, and speaking of just like quirks in general, we had the One for All reveal to Izuku and Ryu Let Rest Class 1A. I'm kind of bummed, because like it looked like all those notes were handwritten, when our boy really could have just used like Microsoft Word or like a photocopier to like write all this out, because it sounds like they said all said the same
personal,
thing.
But they're personal. I think like probably like the first two paragraphs of all of them are the same, but that last one is probably special. He's Deku. He's someone that always like talks from his emotion. Of course, he made them special for everyone. There's no reason why he wouldn't.
Okay, all right, I'll give you that.
Have some faith in him.
So how would you feel how do you think your mom would feel if you had this, like, you had this Superman equivalent of the world be like, hey, guess what? I passed my quirk on to your son. The only reason I didn't blow him up is because he's quirkless. He needs to go hide for the rest of his life and evade
Yeah.
capture. Like,
Yeah, this is a real, like, probably shocking moment for a lot of them, even though they have lived through shocking things already. This is like, I don't know. I do feel like here's my reaction. Everyone is shocked. They're like, how could this happen? I had no like idea whatsoever. And then there are people who are like, yeah, obviously. Like,
yeah.
yeah, they were hanging out all the time, constantly.
Yeah, everybody talking about like this weird connection between the two of them, and no one decided to connect the dots, sort of thing, right? Like,
Yeah, it's like they have the same exact quirk.
weird.
Interesting.
Yeah, one just doesn't become huge. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
and I don't know.
one just started manifesting multiple quirks. What is that about?
What's that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we never really get the explanation why Deku doesn't get muscle form. We never like that's just his
Yeah.
like own unique touch. Like that was just it.
Yeah, it was just yeah, we really never got anything about that.
Which is, I don't know, which is so weird to me. It's like out of all the things that Horikoshi goes back and covers, that's not one of them.
No, because like I feel like at that point he would just like dig himself into his own grave if he tried to justify that. At this point
Probably.
he's just like, yeah, pretend just it's whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just that you don't know. I mean, I guess that is what he was beginning to look like before his injury, and he just found a way to maintain that. But like I guess that's really it, because that was what he looked like in his youth, growing up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And but yeah, no, he just found a way to artificially maintain it.
Yeah. So I guess what does this change though? Now that Class 1A knows, does this actually change anything between their dynamics? Does the class look at Deku differently now?
So I think the like doubt is probably starting to, or like doubt and like maybe a degree of distrust is probably going to start like coming from this. Obviously, it's from a good place, but like, okay, if he's like down to up and bounce, like, a bond's kind of severed at that point, right? That if he's down to do this, even if it is with good intention, right?
Yeah.
The one person I think that this literally doesn't change anything with is Bakugo.
Oh, because he
Baku-
knows.
Because that's it. One thing he knows, he already knew about this. And two, I think because Bakugo knows, he's gonna kind of be able to rally everybody to be like, doesn't fucking matter. Doesn't matter. Same dude. And he's just gonna be angry. And like, honestly, I can't see their relationship staying like this like long. I know a lot of like Class 1A characters get like kind of like sidelined a lot, right? Like for comic relief or just like strictly love interest and stuff like that, right? But I just can't see the other class of 19 people just sitting around being like, I guess we'll just hang out in UA and just like twiddle our thumbs, sort of thing. Especially with Bakugo around.
Yeah.
There's no way, right?
Yeah. I don't know. Like it's weird because like I feel like it could go into a direction that like if it wasn't as much of a like a shonen, I could see of like, hey, maybe we could have implications of like, hey, all the bad stuff that has happened to us, it's your fault, Deku, right?
It's
like,
entirely your fault.
hey,
Yeah.
we're all grieving Midnight right now. Isn't that kind of in a way your fault, Deku? Like, I could see that storyline actually opening up in some shows, but I don't see that here. I don't really see like any inner turmoil within the class itself. Because they've never really had that. I mean, the most that we really had was Froppy being mad that she didn't want to like lie to the teachers by sneaking out. That was like
Yeah.
that was like the biggest like really like inner like group like conflict there. So I don't know. I don't know if I could see one just manifesting now.
Yeah, and I think that really brings up a good point. Is that as far as like inner conflict within that group, it's been non-existent. It's really been non-existent. Like everybody really like, and maybe that is just like a shonen trope, but like everybody like, yeah, it's like, oh, Bakugo's a dick, but like nobody's mad about it. You know what I mean? Like it's just like something we learn. Nobody like, and maybe it's because they're. like they haven't written any inner turmoil amongst the group. You never had like, you know, two characters who have like clashing ideals or anything like that, right? It is very much like, oh, we all want to be heroes, so regardless of the circumstance, we all just kind of power through and do that, right? But yeah, like one event after another is technically Deku's fault at this point, but the tone's not there. No one we haven't been shown anybody feeling like insanely betrayed, other than Uraraka, which can be unfortunately written off as probably like a love interest thing, but as a genuine relationship thing, right? Like as like a friendship thing, right? Like
Yeah. But we don't need Class 1A anymore because we have a new crew. We got a new crew of people.
Boys, dude.
We got the boys. We got Best Jeanist. We got All Might. Who else we got in the crew?
Endeavor and Hawks.
Endeavor and Hawks. We have all the top heroes here. I don't know. I think it makes sense that it's going to move in this direction because, like, you know, this is where all the action's happening. Mm-hmm. I want to know, is Hawks like going to be just chilling? Is he going to be like fighting in this? Like, I'm so worried about what's going on with Hawks because we haven't really seen, has he healed at all? Like beyond like getting burned completely.
Yeah, it's just that you haven't really, like, he really has just kind of like taken everything in stride, and now him and like Best Jeanist are now like this comic relief duo sort of thing more than anything. And you don't, like, I don't know, do they ever circle back to Hawks having like one traumatic event after another, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm very curious to see if they actually address that at all. On top of that too, like, yeah, it looks like Best Jeanist has made the best recovery, but like he still went through some shit too. He died, right? Like they made him dead, right? So do we ever explore that, right? I think Best Jeanist at this point is a character where you could explore that and like dedicate like a portion of an episode to that, and it wouldn't feel weird. Like I think a lot of people would appreciate that, considering that he has gone from this very tropey character to an actually genuine, like, really interesting character.
Yeah, I want some more dedicated episodes to Best Jeanist because he's so cool.
He's gotten like what, like 2, like 2, 3. Like
I want an origin story. I want a sad backstory. I want some sick fights.
They could be like a school brief thing. Just give me like honestly, after the fact, after My Hero, if they start going through like every major character that we didn't get that backstory explanation, and just give us one episode of the whole thing, that'd
be sick.
It's fucking genius. It's awesome. It's amazing. Let's go. I'm pitching this tomorrow. Okay. Well, I think that winds it down though. I think it's time, Dylan. It's that moment.
It is time.
It is the Plus Ultra Award. So for anybody who doesn't know, and most of you know at this point, we give the Plus Ultra Award out for somebody who's gone Plus Ultra, be it a hero, villain, concept, fucking animator. We do it all here. We do it all. And then we tally it at the end, and we're trash at keeping track of this, so like it makes us suffer when we have to go back and calculate this, but it's fine. It's awesome. We love doing it. So, Dylan, who do you got?
I think for this one, I want to give it to Shindo. I think he
okay, cool.
Right?
All right, perfect.
My thinking too was that, like, hey, I'm up against this known horrible villain. And you know what? I'm a hero. I'm going to stand here. I'm just going to go for it. Not only is he like a hero going for it, I'm pretty sure he had just graduated. I think.
He's third year. He's third year now.
He's third year now. So yes, okay. Yeah, because I was going to say they just flipped years.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's a third year now. So he's still in school, and he's like, all right, we're going to do this just like a top hero would.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so he easily gets it.
Yeah, and like I think it is very much like that. Like and like that was just, I think the biggest thing about it too is like even when he knew he was going down, he was just like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna do what I can," sort of thing. And I think that's what really like solidifies him for this award, because like he knew what was gonna happen to him. He knew he was gonna die, and he was just like, No. I get it, and I'm going to do as much damage as I can before I go out. And I think that is like, this may be one of the least necessarily explained puzzle ultras we've had to do in a while. You know what I mean? Like this is like when we go back to the embodiment of it, this is kind of it, right?
Yeah.
We love him. We knock off Deku, man. He's got a place in our heart. Like. Love it. We gotta work on that outfit though, man. I don't know how I feel about like the exposed chest. Like it's weird. It's a weird look. Like
We can upgrade them. We can
we
upgrade
can
them.
upgrade them. Yeah, exactly. Right. But that does it all here for us this week. My name is James. This is Dylan, and we will see you next class.